relive the horror.
Yeah, that's always a good one to watch. Like, I was going through the videos and I was like, oh my goodness, this is good. And I think that picture made it onto a couple other sites too, right?
2chan, it made it over on 2chan, yeah.
yeah, it was pretty awesome. Well, anyways, welcome everybody to MogTalk episode 85. Today we are going to be talking about Deep Dungeon and Palace of the Dead, aka Palace of the Dead. And it's been out for a little while now, so I figure it's a good time to start having a conversation about it. There's a lot of different things with the content that kind of brings, I guess, I don't know, there's a lot of side content out there, and this one seems like it's actually starting to shine a little bit, but we'll talk about that. Maybe it's not actually kind of going that way. If you guys are new to MogTalk is a show where we discuss anything from Final Fantasy XIV Savage Raiding to Chocobo Racing to, obviously, Palace of the Dead. Today, we have two wonderful guests with us. First, you will definitely recognize him. He's been on the show multiple times here. The wonderful Professor Dr. ShamanArkk. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good.
Yeah? So,
yeah.
Arkk, go ahead and, just for some people who might not know who you are, kind of what server do you play on, where are you at with raiding, and also kind of where you are with Palace of the Dead.
Okay, so I play on Gilgamesh as a machinist. As far as raiding goes, you know, we're kind of like a hardcore group that play. That's definitely cleared A12S first week and all that kind of stuff. And just farming loot. Gonna get into speed kills eventually. And as far as Palace of the Dead goes, cleared. Went and cleared the floor 200. And outside of that, I've just been doing kind of little pugs here and there. We're probably gonna do another clearing because we didn't get the item that we wanted. But we're just taking a break until we get back into that again.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. Well, first
glass
time.
Pumpkin.
Yeah, because the glass pumpkin.
Who wants the glass pumpkin?
We got the glass pumpkin too. So.
Nice. Well, for the very first time on the show, someone who just is starting to get a little bit more into community, I've noticed at least recently, the wonderful Nariko Star. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. First time on MogTalk, so this will be a first for me. I'm excited.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't turn out to be completely horrible, and you're like, I really completely regret everything I did.
I'll blame you if it does.
Feel free to. I mean, like, I have my entire PvP team over at FanFest blame me for running to the wrong base, right?
We need a rematch.
Yeah,
we do.
We can do it. Arkk, if you didn't know, she's the one who beat me on stage at FanFest in PvP.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was in the Demald set.
Yeah,
you crushed Frosty. He's never been the same since.
It completely crushed my spirit.
As long as you don't make the mistake of running back to the wrong base again, I think we can all.
So here's also the thing. During that, they were so behind with like the PvP portion of that whole FanFest.
I know.
Was so behind, and they had to cut the last match short. Like it had to be like instead of best of 3, it was best of 1, right?
Yeah.
And so. If we would have tied, which would have happened if I went to the right base, they wouldn't have known what to do. Like they would have had no time for anything.
You threw your match.
Yeah, I mean they would have coin flipped and they would say, "All right, you win." I don't think we would have been able to have another match. But
we would have lost that. So.
Yeah, well, we'll see. All right. So for people who aren't as familiar with you, Nariko Star, please go ahead and just say where you're from, kind of where you are with raiding, and of course. Palace of the Dead activity that you had recently.
Okay, so my name is Nariko Star. For those of you who don't know, I was at FanFest doing mini Cacpot tickets. I play on the Sargatanis server, and it's kind of a mix between Gilgamesh and Balmung, for those of you who aren't familiar with it. So it's a pretty good mix of the two. Mm-hmm. On day 1 of our patch release, I made it to floor 196 and suffered a very defeating loss, like 9 hours of my life wasted. And then day 2, we came back and challenged it, and I think we got floor 200. I don't know if we were the third group who beat it. I'm pretty sure it was a Japanese group. Then I know Elysium's group got it, and then I want to say we were third, but there could have been people in between that. I play Scholar main. I've been playing Scholar since the beginning of the raid tier, so I've been any of the raid tiers that we've gone through. I've played as Scholar. I play with Legacy FC, and I play in the PST Static, and we cleared A12S. Our goal was to clear it before FanFest. We cleared it on like Tuesday of day 2, so we were really close to getting that week 1 clear, but we didn't end up getting it.
Yeah,
And then
I actually remember that. There was a group from Legacy. Was it your group that was on the World Race content? Or
no,
was it just different?
that's EST.
Okay.
Our grade group, we're I would consider ourselves, we have like a hardcore mentality, but I think all of the people in our grade group, they have full-time jobs, so we were only able to take off like one day for
Okay.
rating. So yeah, it depends per when the patches fall.
I
So
gotcha.
we were not that group. That was EST, which
Okay.
they're really cool too. But we're the PST static, and then right now we do weekly clears. We just pretty much do our weekly clears. We do mains and alts, and sell some content.
Like
and then
every
as far
single hardcore group running 2 groups. Yeah.
well, we do it to do sales
Right.
mainly, and then as far as Palace of the Dead, yeah, right now I've just been, aside from the clears that we got, the 196 and then the floor 200, I'm trying to go through and clear with my husband, trying to duo it and just see how far we can get doing that, which I think we'll be able to do. So just a matter of time.
Yeah, I think it's definitely. Has anyone cleared it with just 2 people yet? I don't.
I don't know. I haven't seen anyone. There may have been people who have done it, but I haven't seen any
It's hard
post
to
about
find
it.
unless someone
Yeah.
brags about it. So they would have to brag about it.
Right.
Exactly.
It's true. All right.
Maybe not.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you'd have to kind
It
of
would
look
be
for
hard.
it.
So first off, it would be a lot of work. It'd be really
Yeah.
hard to do. And again, the reward would be only if someone posted it on Reddit. Like pretty much the only reward you're gonna get from that. So
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll
and-
hear about it if it happens.
Well, you'll hear about it from me.
Oh.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, and so
I
you
think
almost had world first, right, Nariko, with Palace of the Dead? If you wouldn't have wiped on 196.
If we wouldn't have wiped to 196, we would have. It was right at the 9-hour mark. That was our first run through. So, yeah, that was
Nice.
devastating. To say the
So,
least.
just real quick, I want to know how you felt afterwards. Tell me all of the emotions that kind of went through your brain. You're like, I just gave up world first Palace of the Dead. It doesn't mean a lot, right? Or no one's like super watching it, it's going crazy. Some people are, but like at the same time, you're like, this is an accomplishment you're going for, obviously, right? It wasn't like,
yeah, no, I
Right.
mean, definitely. That's kind of rating's a little hard to do just because you have to have 7 other people who are able to take off time to really accomplish, because that's a longer, I
Right.
mean, even though it's a week, I mean, with our static specifically, that's harder to do. But as far as like any other content, I always, at least for me and my husband, we always try and push that really fast. This goes for like releases too. I believe I was the first 50 scholar, and then also I know I was the first 60, at least on our server. So like anytime new content comes out, I always try and push that. Especially if it's like rating. So that was our goal going into this. But we were playing really safe because we knew that if you died, there would be consequences.
right.
So I think just emotions going through, I knew it was a possibility because we obviously were going in blind and we don't know what we're going to see. And I don't know, anytime I see an eye now, in even if it's not Palace of the Dead, I kind of get like a PTSD because
Right.
it's just like, oh my god, is it gonna not petrify, death, level 10 death or level 9 death, whatever it is.
Mhm.
It kind of was like it was weird. I just kind of was like, oh my god, what are we doing? Like, how did we do this? How did we wipe? And then knowing after the fact, or after that fact, it kind of like, I literally, I did not play for the rest of the day. I think I said I was going to come back and try it later that night. That didn't even happen. I literally probably just sat in my living room for a good like 4 hours being like, what the fuck just happened?
You know,
So,
I felt kind of the same way when I lost that match. I was just like, how could this happen? Like, I'm on stage. I didn't expect it to be on stage because that was the weird thing, right? Like, we didn't even have a match with anyone. We're just like, hey, you wanted to participate? Okay, you're instantly on stage. And then I'm like, I could have made something out of this. It could have been great. Nope.
It kind of was a weird trickle effect too, because initially I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a breather, and my husband took off 1 day of work, and so if he would have not had work the next day, I think we would have definitely went in immediately. But the fact that it took us, I think we were right at the 9-hour and 20-minute mark when we got to floor 196, and obviously our Aether flow was much less at the time. Like I was supposed to be, I think, on floors 175. I got gypped on Aether flow. I think I can't remember what it is. I think the video has it captured, but I should have been a lot higher. I was the lowest person, and it was weird because I remember posting it on Twitter and it started going around. And so while I had originally said I was only going to take, I think like a 3-hour break or something, it started turning in like right at the 3-hour break. I guess a lot of the Japanese community got a hold of it and were freaking out about it. And then it got posted on 2chan, and it was like, the translation was like, North American player in distress. And it just had like all these pictures of me like freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, this is horrible. Like, have to relive it. And then it was on another Japanese site. It got like posted around, and I was like, oh my God, this is horrible. So it ended up, the 3-hour break that I was supposed to take, I think ended up turning up into like a whole day event. And then later that night, I had raid, so that was one of the reasons we couldn't go in again, because we had to do our weekly clears. And we only had that Tuesday to do our weekly clears. People were going to be out of town. And after that, the 2 other people we had raiding with us, they were like, let's go back after. But then a maintenance came out of nowhere, and so we weren't able, I think it was like a 1 a.m. maintenance. So we only had like an hour to go as far as we could, and I think we got to floor 110, but then we had to stop, come back after the maintenance, and Kai had work, so he couldn't wake up early at the 3 a.m. to do it. So that's why it ended up being like this so long. We were trying though. We really wanted to. No one had cleared it still, and I think if we didn't have that maintenance, we probably still, even with the 190 floor wipe, could have gotten like world first.
Right. That's pretty. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I didn't know you were that hardcore of a player. Honestly, I thought you were like, oh, it's a cosplayer, just a casual cosplayer. Look.
Oh no. Yeah. I mean, I would consider this game kind of dictates my life. So.
Well, all right. There we go. We have a super addict on the show, and I didn't even know about it.
Pretty much.
All right. So. I think that's good enough of an introduction here. We can go ahead and start getting into the show. And again, we're going to be discussing various things about Palace of the Dead. Myself, I've only been to floor 80. I was going to get a little bit further this week, but with our epic, extremely low DPS clear of A11S.
But you guys got it.
Yeah, we got it at the very end.
Got it. Yeah.
We got we were past G8 100, and we were on the next set of optical sights. I don't think that most people even see that ever.
What was your generator at when you guys cleared? What was the HP on it?
I can't even remember. I haven't gone back and looked yet.
So some really cool stuff that happened in your kill is the fact that you guys you had all 3 towers up even after the final set of numbers, and continued to keep all 3 towers up until like, I can't remember, it was like a whirlwind. No, the GAO 100 killed one of them, and then you still had 2 up for the last optical sight, and I was like, holy crap.
What'd they have at the limit cut?
They had 3.
Oh, they had 3 at the. Okay, so it was the second GA 100 that they had 3 that took out. Oh my God, that's really good.
Yeah, no, you guys. I was actually very impressed that you managed to keep up 3 towers that long. It was so clean, and and I didn't know there were optical sights after that, because most of the time people just wipe and try to go for higher DPS. So I don't know. I don't know if you were one of the first people to say those optical sights or not, because a lot of us, like people in my group, are like, what happens after like those mechanics? We don't know. We've never seen that far, and like we're actually very curious. We were thinking of like figuring it out.
Most people say that second GA 100 is the wipe, just because I think you have to have like 45 points total, and if you only have 2 towers, I think it is possible, but they have to be like all full HP, which I think there's too many whirlwinds before that to even accomplish. So you have to have 3 towers up at that point to live through that GA.
It's something like that. Like it's the whirlwind after the GA 100 would finish it off is what would cause the wipe. That's what it was like in Prague for us, but yeah.
It was interesting. It was really interesting because, like, the entire time I was like, guys, just make sure we do the mechanics. And I didn't even realize that was, like, what we did in the fight. I just thought, like, I don't know why we're still alive. Just keep going. Try to kill it. And just do it.
You're lucky that optical sight wasn't a bait, because I would have never known.
No. Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure it just repeats the cycle. That's what it does. That's all. Like, it starts G8 100 and repeats. And
that's really cool.
Yeah, and so now we know that, and it was interesting because it's a 12:33 is how much, 12 minutes 33 seconds, and I don't know how long everyone else has on that fight, but I feel like that was kind of long.
I think the fastest kill right now is that Neverland group, and they're at 6:48, I want to say, something like that, or maybe it's 7:48. Right. I don't know. We were optimizing this week for speed kills, so I was watching their videos and stuff. So
nice, yeah, and so I'm completely impressed, and at that point we were going to go back into Palace of the Dead, but I was like, I've accomplished enough. I'm gone. I'm going to go walk the dogs and play Pokemon. So, but yeah, enough about that. So we're going to get into Palace of the Dead. I don't have a lot of experience, but both of these guys have both cleared 100 or not 100, 200.
200.
One has almost cleared it, then cleared it. Nariko. So we've. Just out of curiosity, Arkk, what's the highest level that you wiped on with it so far?
I haven't actually wiped in it before.
Oh,
I haven't done a lot of it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. There you go.
But that's not like that's not an impressive thing. We did one run from 1 to 200, and then I just did stuff with pugs out of that. So I haven't done actually ones above 100 yet. Okay. I was getting a lot of 90Ks. In fact, I 90K'd a couple of times in our 1 to 200 run, so I've been afraid to solo it. Those 90Ks, actually, I just went through 2 raid days without getting any 90K. They're not really bad. It's like one every 3 hours, but that'll kill a solo run. So.
Yeah, I completely understand that. I woke up, I think it was on day 4, and Kayoko, my husband, he wanted to solo it, and he was doing it, and I woke up and I was walking out, and our pathway for our computers have our Ethernet cords, and he looks at me, starts screaming, "Do not step on that cord!" And I was like, "Why?" And he's like, "Because I'm soloing, and if I get DC'd, I'm gonna lose."
Yeah. The funniest thing, if you see the group that my group on the ranking boards, so we actually.
What are you guys ranked right now?
Well, I haven't checked in a while, but we were 9 on Ether, I think. But so they 9 or 4th or whatever, party wise we're 4th, but
right.
9 individually. But the funny thing about it is that when I 90K'd, they got 2 kills without me because we just it was a quick kick. So I'm actually 12, and the rest of my group is 9.
I see.
Oh, nice.
So that's awesome. And it's funny because someone else in our group on 90K, but we just happened to be not killing mobs at the time, so they kept their score, but I lost 2 kills, and I'm like,
yeah,
my own group passed me.
What a scrub.
I hear you.
But yeah, again, we're gonna have a conversation going into a lot of different thoughts on the content, not just for the people who are trying and clearing 200, but people who are actually interested in the content and going into it for the first time. We'll probably hit some of those topics. If you guys have any questions at all, please ask them. We have Karara in the chat, and she will be collecting all of your questions, no matter if it's about what kind of condiments they like on their burgers to what they think is the best in slot for so-and-so. Whatever you guys want to talk about, that'd be interesting to talk about. So ask away. But to start the conversation, the first thing I want to talk about is, before you guys got into it, I mean, you obviously both were very interested. Arkk, I've talked to you multiple times, and you're like, yeah, Palace of the Dead is something that I'm really in love with. Not exactly those words, but those sentiments were felt.
I mean, I did the last Palace of the Dead show, so.
Yeah, exactly. And Nariko, of course, you were interested in doing it. Maybe not because it was content you were interested in, but because you wanted to be first and go really fast and hardcore, like you said. But what were your hopes for the content when you first knew it was coming out? What were you expecting? And Nariko, I'll start with you.
Okay. Well, so before we heard anything, I guess, from any kind of live letters, just hear it, because I think it was announced a while ago we were going to have this sort of content, or we were going to have finally more floors. I expected more save points. I didn't expect I think we found out before, the patch release, this was going to happen when we got the official patch notes, or the patch notes they released a week before.
Right. The preliminary, right.
Yeah, I was expecting it to work similar to how floors 1 through 50 worked, where we would have save points every 10 floors. But because of that, I was hoping that the actual content would be a lot harder. So it's 10 floors are really, really hard, and it's kind of this huge climb going up. That's what I had expected before we had anything. Yeah. And then just the difficult climb throughout. And then I was hoping that the bosses would actually be more kind of... I don't want to say like raid bosses, but longer than they are currently, because I think right now, at least if your Aether Flow is at 99 and your Aether Pool and Aether Arm are at 99, I mean, you can kill the bosses pretty quickly, especially with the uses of Pommeners. So because of the save points, or I was expecting save points every 10 floors, I just thought the content would be harder. So that was my pre-going into knowing nothing about it. Yeah.
I gotcha. Arkk, your hopes going into it?
Pretty much just, I love small group challenging content. It's it's one of the things I like about this game is that the raids are 8-man, and I've always kind of wanted to see even smaller size hard difficult content in this game. It's like that's actually just like a personal thing I really like, because the responsibility on each individual is really high, and the coordination is really is pretty much gets higher and higher to like you need to be like the how coordinated your group is, the requirement gets higher and higher and higher, and I really kind of like that. I find it really fun. Like one of my most favorite things to do in MMOs is like go in and like duo content with Izu and stuff like that. So I've always liked kind of doing that stuff. And against soloing is like it's a different kind of challenge, and I'm definitely interested in the solo stuff. But I really like the 4-man challenging content. I always find that stuff fun. Like you actually have to be like coordinating stuns or making sure someone's taking care of something. Someone's monitoring the pomenders. There's like someone dealing with certain mechanics. And it's just like the communication. It's like just a really fun experience. So, and that's what I was like really hoping for. Like I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I love content that embraces crowd control. I wish that there was a lot more of that, because then you actually have to think a little more utility and then DPS, and that's kind of one of my biggest gripes at the moment, is that a lot of the meta right now is based around just straight DPS. There's not a lot of crowd control and things like that, and that's kind of
in raid.
Yeah, in raid for sure.
Yeah. And you know, and that's not what it was like in raids in the past, but it's starting to go towards that, and that's one of the reasons why I'm craving that content in other places. Maybe if it's separated, that's cool. Like we don't need extremely high DPS, or DPS isn't the focus, but there's still, you know, utility. Like you got to use your utility, you got to use your crowd control, you got to use your silences, your stun.
I mean, especially in the later floors. I mean,
yeah. So and I do understand that putting like high DPS check requirements and all those mechanics and coordination checks all together at the same time can be, you know, like that just, it's almost to a point where it's so hard that it's hard to play with others that it's just, you know, you don't really see them as friends anymore. So I do understand that. It's like these, like, you know, you have to do it right, or like I'm going to hate you forever.
I mean, no, that's kind of the thing with raiding right now too. To do the content, you half the time you're not doing it with friends, you're just doing it with people who are capable of doing it. And so sometimes that you get really lucky, and both your friends and people who could do Savage content are in the same group. But it's not always like that. Like I myself, I do a lot of Savage content. Hey, don't call me. I don't know who you are. All right. But yeah, no, sorry. The content I'm doing right now with raid, it's all just friends, people we've been raiding with for a while. And
that's awesome.
It's tough. It's really tough, because you're doing this content, people get frustrated because they want to clear it.
Yeah, but then would you say that's how yours is, Arkk?
Yeah.
Because like mine's also with well, because you said yours is with friends, and I'd say mine's with friends. I've actually, the 5 people in my raid group, we've been around since Binding Coil 1. So we've been around for a really long time, like the first turn. But is that how it is with you, Arkk? Like, do you get to play with some of your friends too?
Yeah, absolutely. Like these are people that I've joined. I've known since I was on my original server. You know, like we've just known each other for long. There's some new people in there, but they're like just as awesome as the people I've known for a really long time. So yeah, it's the same thing. It's just like those are the type of groups I want. Like I won't really ever have a good time if I'm just in a group that's just there to like clear the content and like achieve, like, you know, go for the seeking that superiority. Like I understand that's something that people really crave and want. But I'm more looking for the friendship and having the fun when I play the game, and that's why I kind of like the raid content like it is now. But you know, I do want more.
Let me throw in another factor here. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's say that you haven't cleared A12S with your group right now. Yeah, you haven't cleared it at this point. Would you still want to be in that static group?
I would want to be in the static group. I would say, at least for like in the past, just like I can say, because my group's been around since like the beginning. Anytime we've experienced content where we haven't been able to clear it, it's normally been, if it was a case that we haven't been able to clear it, it's been because of an individual, and we've normally taken care of that problem. Or if it's not, it's more of, if it's like we're doing bad on a turn specifically, it's more like, you know, maybe someone's having an off day, or a lot of us are making a mistake. Like I have off days all the time. So I mean, it's weird. I don't think we've ever been able to come across something that we haven't been with the group that I've been in right now, but we have switched people out, I guess, as far as, it's weird. It's if they're not capable of that content. So I don't know. We haven't had that recently. This is like back in like second coil days. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Arkk, so kind of your thoughts too. If your group, the people you're playing with right now, had difficulty clearing some of the content, would you still be like, yeah, I want to be in this raid group, or would you be looking for a different raid group?
It's very hard to say because it's like very situational, but probably like it's just like the reason I'm friends with a lot of these people is because they approach raiding and have similar mindset in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So, like it's hard for me to imagine that scenario because like
It hasn't happened, right?
like but like I mean if you're saying like if the content gets so hard that even though our group's capable of, we're not capable of it, I'd say I probably wouldn't find that content very fun because then like all the people I'm with are like in the same boat as me and saying, oh, this content's not that fun, it's way too hard.
Do you think it's I mean, because you mentioned before, you talked about mentality before, because I feel with at least our raid group, it's a very similar mentality. So it's not so much, I feel like it would adapt. It would get to the point where if we couldn't clear it, like if we couldn't clear it in a month, we would still be at it. Most of the people in our raid group have been, I don't know, we're pretty,
I'm trying to,
I think it would go on.
Scenario, right?
Yeah.
It's like content we could never clear is what Frosty was kind of saying. So it's like in this group, I could never clear this content no matter how long we try it. Then I would say, yeah, we'd still be a group and we'd be like, we're probably not doing this content. We'll just like what other content's in the game right now? Is why is there only like 2 groups that can clear this content in the entire world?
But let's no. Like even if all right, so put your Frosty shoes on right now. Your Frosty shoes, okay. And you guys are in the group, and it's been a couple months. You guys don't raid a lot, but you do raid together every couple of weeks or so. And you come in, and you're trying to clear the content, and it's just slow moving. It's not moving as fast as you want it to be. Although they're your friends and everything, but you want to clear it. Would you rather prefer to clear the content faster with a group of people that you kind of knew that just were really good at the game, or would you rather clear it with friends a little bit later down the road?
Definitely with friends later down the road. I don't really get much out of clearing stuff faster. It's just consuming content faster. So I want to have fun while I do it, and that's the most important thing. I won't have fun unless I'm doing it with people I like.
And I mean, I think it would be similar to me. Like, I mean, I wish we could have got the week 1 clear. I think we could have if we had more time for A12S. We didn't, but like, I mean, I still wanted to raid with the group we were in. So I mean, it'd be hard to say because I haven't experienced that. It may have to be like everyone's breaking point, right? Like if it's only like a month later, like that's really in the grand scheme of things of like MMOs. I come from like a lot of background of MMOs. That's like whatever to you. But if it was a case of like, this went on for like 3 months, that might be a point where I'd be like, okay, like something needs to happen. But if it's a case of where there's only, so many, maybe like 1 or 2 groups that have cleared that, at that point, I think you look at it as like, okay, if there's only like so many groups who have cleared that, then this might be a case of where we still do raid runs with our group, but maybe we all need to sit down and look at it like, okay, these are the people who really want to go for it, and if there's people who aren't capable, then let's still do the stuff with the static, like let's still keep our static stuff, but maybe we can find elsewhere other people who are willing to put in more time, because I feel like it's a time thing, right? Like it's kind of how much time do you put in to learn something, and if it's content that's going to be that hard where you, like the group that we have currently can't beat it, then it's probably a case of where it's just more like you need to, I don't know, I don't know if I could look at something where it's like you're just not skilled enough. It's more just like how much time do you want to put into it. So that would be my like look on it. I think
hypothetical. Like I
don't
a game that's,
it was just an interesting thing for me. I actually completely forgot why it came up. Just for some reason I was talking about the content and like I feel okay because I felt like kind of rating right now. If you want fast clears, you kind of have to run with people who are really good with the game. You can't really always say, hey, I'm going to get my best friends to come play with me. It has to be like friends who are also good at the game. I don't know. It was a weird situation.
There's the time commitment. There's you have to play a certain way. Like, like if you're okay with moving a bit slower and letting gear take you through the content, you can play differently. You don't have to. You can say, I'm not going to focus on this certain aspect of my class and still get through the content, right? And that's people find that more fun, and like. That's why, like I said, it's like there's more ways to play the game, and there's more raiders who can clear the content. It's just a matter of speed, right? But there's more of them out there to play with, and
okay,
I like that. Yeah.
Well, bringing that back to Palace of the Dead. Palace of the Dead is kind of one of those interesting things to where you don't have to do a lot to be on even ground with everyone else. You kind of just have to get 99, right? You're just going for a little bit of farming. You can't say there's something special this guy has with his gear and he just got a little bit luckier or something. Everyone's kind of on even footing, and it's interesting because even though this guy doesn't have a lot of time, he's still going to be as geared as the next guy that's going in there, as long as he goes in and gets that quick grind out of the way, right?
Similar to PvP, like experience is very important. I went with people who, like in our static, there are some people who have barely ever touched Palace of the Dead, and we went in with all the people who had all done Palace of the Dead in the past. A lot of them have done solo attempts individually, including myself, right? And like really know the mechanics of Palace of the Dead extremely well in it, and it was really smooth. Like it was really easy for us to understand exactly why we'd use implementers in very specific places and stuff like that. And if I went in with anyone else, then I'd have to, there'd be teaching, and they'd have to experience the stuff the hard way of what happens when you don't do things, and why maybe you shouldn't open up chests on like floor 190 and stuff like that anymore, or things like that.
Yeah. Okay, so I pushed my mic a little bit away from the camera, or away from me, closer to camera, I guess, because I'm a little bit louder. Sorry. I didn't mean to overpower you guys so much. I know you can't hear it on Skype, though, because like it all bounces out.
It equalizes it, yeah.
But yeah, and I feel like Palace of the Dead is really good content to let you just kind of play around with, and you don't have to be like a hardcore player. You just have to kind of have an understanding of how your job works. When you guys get into like 150 and above, though, I mean, we looking at you have to be a pretty skilled player to get through it, or you just have to be kind of an okay player to get through it?
Well, 150 plus, I think the boss at 150, what is the 150 boss is the succubus, right? The succubi. I think 170 was where stuff started to get real, at least for us, the second climb through. 140 before, because our Aether flow was severely behind, so we couldn't do big pulls anymore. So I would say if someone has 99.99 Aether pool, I thought personally 170 was where it started getting super real, but that's coming from someone who has done through like all raid coils, everything like that, had done Palace of the Dead previously, like Arkk was saying, knew what the polymers did, or had a general understanding of that. So for me, I think 170 was where it really started getting hard the second time through. 140 only because of the Aether flow the first time through, because it was so far behind just the first playthrough.
Yeah, the Aether flow would make a difference. It's interesting too, because I actually did you start at 3030 when you went in originally?
Yep. We had a save.
That's crazy.
We
had a save game too, a 50 save game from 1 to 50, and so we had like a good set of polymenders going in. And,
we had cap polymenders. We didn't use any on the first floor, so
yeah. Exactly. And yeah, it's funny that you didn't actually get 99.90, because I did just a couple dungeons in between our own runs, and I got 99.98 by the end of it.
Oh wow, we didn't. So we were really behind.
I got to experience, like I was definitely like sitting around 70, around like 150, 160, but then it just kept going up.
Yeah.
But going off saying a bit.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say like the main skills you need. It's not necessarily job skills are helpful, but like it was very rare that I could actually I was put in situations where I could optimally play my job. Anyways, it was more no mechanics, like no common mechanics, because a lot of the mechanics these beasts do are actually the ones they do in the open world. They're just not deadly,
Yeah.
So know those type of like boss enemy mechanics. Look for what they do when they activate. Coordinate stuns. So coordination, right, is like really big. So mechanics, coordination, and patience. Like honestly, you need a lot of patience.
I think that's the.
You don't go in. You don't just pop a rage because you want to get through a floor faster. You have to, and you don't pop strengths and steals.
You use it strategically.
Yeah, you like wait for them to come up again and then use them, or you use them in emergencies exclusively. Even though you could move faster, you always have to assume the worst.
Right.
That's probably where most groups actually fail, because the content's like not super challenging, but it does take a lot of patience.
Did you guys deal with the gauntlets? Because like anytime we got to the gauntlets, I called them the gauntlets. They're basically the rooms in the later floors with like the huge pile of mobs. Did you guys save rages for that?
Sometimes we skipped those when we could.
Okay, we couldn't skip any of ours.
Yeah. We could skip one, but the other one we had to use a rage, and we just watched like our tank kill like some of the most deadly mobs one at a time, and there's like 20 in one room. I have screenshots. I wish I should have sent you a screenshot for us. We have screenshots of like a room packed with chimeras, like 20 chimeras the same room. Yep.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous. It's scary.
But how do you deal with that if you don't use your polymers correctly?
That's right. You have to hold on to your rages. We started doing it a little bit slower than every other group, so we had a little more information. So we actually, knowing that there wasn't a boss at the end, we did like pile up all our promenders and like just kind of, we had like 2 rages and flights for the last few floors. So we actually didn't, the last few floors were like no work. We just kind of walked around with our rages. So that was
that's what I think killed us, because we had stuff, but we were saving it for the 200.
Boss, yeah.
We were at 196, and then like later we were just like, oh my god, what?
Yeah.
So
that information was very valuable for us. That's why we played.
Let's have a quick discussion on this. I don't know how quick it'll be. But the fact that there is no, and spoilers for people who care, but there is no level 200 boss.
Bench is the boss.
How do you guys feel about that? Is that good? Is that bad? Arkk. Let's see Arkk. Arkk, tell me, good or bad?
I mean, like, I feel like at that point. Okay, so like I want the boss to be hard, right?
Right.
But a boss that's hard at that point would be just painful, so painful.
To wipe on it, right?
I think if the content was maybe structured a little bit differently, I would have liked to see like a nice hard boss there. But because you have to go through, at least 50 to 200 again if you wipe, it probably would have just been like another like lull boss, like where you just like smash it, kill it down as really quickly. So I'm pretty indifferent of it. I would have liked to see like a cool new model, but I wasn't actually seeing any new cool models for most of the time anyway, so I wasn't really, my expectations weren't set high. But yeah, I was like, who's the ruler of Palace of the Dead? I was like, oh, I can't wait to see. It's just a bench.
Yeah,
but it's you. It's supposed to be you, because you're the scariest.
Yes.
Yeah, because we're the scariest things.
The scariest thing, and we get a glass pumpkin. Not the Eye of Sauron, just the glass pumpkin.
We got the glass pumpkin.
Yeah.
Nariko, what are your thoughts on no boss on floor 200?
I mean, I was really disappointed. And then hearing that information at the floor 196 wipe really was just like, really? And then that information, and then like we didn't, the other, I think the thing that killed us, the eyes, those don't exist on floor 97, 98, or 99. So we were like, really? Like that was what took us out, and it's only on those like 90, I think it actually may be on 97. We had been told it wasn't on 97 when we watched the Elysium one, but we had 97. But yeah, like they're only on those 3 floors right there, so that was really devastating too, because we were like, really, we probably could have used some polymenders to get through that immediately, so that was really disappointing. But as for like just no 200 boss, I mean, I'm kind of disappointed, and I really want to see it still, because like if we would have got to 200 and it was just a really, really hard boss and wiped to it, I would have been like, we are going back in there right now, we are getting this 200. Like that would have made me want to do it personally. But like Arkk saying, that is, I mean, the first time we ran through it was 9 hours. The second time with Aetherpool 99, I think it took us like 5 or 6 hours. So if you're really like climbing that much for a boss to do attempts on, and it was like if you're thinking of everything, like that's pretty time consuming, and that's like really hardcore. So I mean, I could have, if that was how they intended it to be, I would have just been like, okay, that's okay. This is how this game's intended to be, and I would have got over it. But like I would have been okay with that.
Okay.
But it would have still been, because I would have looked at it as like that's like an achievement that you need to achieve, and like if you get that glass pumpkin or that fire crest, like you're pretty badass.
Fair enough. Yeah. And so I mean, yeah, it is a challenge. But the thing is that it starts to also not challenge you on the skill that you have, but it challenges you on the time that you could commit towards climbing that every single time.
Exactly. And that would be the only reason where like later down the line, I hope we get to 200 as a save point and you can maybe challenge a boss. That'd be really cool. Like later, if we get a boss that's actually the 200.
I mean, the level cap's going up, so I think we'll get a new Palace of the Dead that's probably going to be structured somewhat similar. I hope they take
sometime in 4.4, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully faster than that, but but yeah, it's something where you like maybe 1 to 50, you get to 70, and it'd be nice if they started getting hard like right off the bat, right after 150. Like maybe I know they kept saying story, but like there really wasn't that much story inside the dungeons. So I mean, they didn't really 100 to 150 seems unnecessarily easy. Like they could have made that a lot harder. That would have been a lot of fun.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the first time through when we went through the 150, we were playing really defensively because we just didn't.
Same here,
we
same
didn't. Yeah, I mean, we didn't know, and we were just like, "Well, is something gonna pop up? Like, what's gonna happen?" So that's probably why the whole 9-hour thing took. Because the second run through, we were like, "Whatever, we're just gonna blow through this." But,
well, the thing is, like, when you go back and do the content every single time, you kind of have to be cautious every single time, right? There's not like you don't get to a certain point so you're like, "Oh yeah, we could just blow through this," because of the hidden floor traps, right?
When we did the second time, I mean, the floor trap stuff we would use, but it's still easy to deal with. Like, we pretty much Kai, by the second time we had gone through, Kyoko had gone and soloed up until floor 100. So we were like, this is really easy if he can, like, if you can go through and solo it. One of the guys we ran with. So we didn't start playing defensively the second time through until like floor 160. We pretty much just went through it really quickly.
It's good to know which mobs' abilities you need to interrupt, and which ones you can group up, which ones you'll need to use a witching if you plan to AoE them down, stuff like that. So you don't necessarily know that on your first try. So
you guys think going back again, it's not really so bad. It's not going to take you long. You don't have to be as careful because you can kind of know the content enough to.
You still have to be careful on the later floors, just because of the abilities that the mobs use. Like the sandworms can take you out. The monkeys, chest pound is really annoying.
Those squirrels hit really hard. They're scamper. If you don't stop scamper, they'll rip you apart.
The first time we got to a squirrel, we were like freaking out because we thought there was only one squirrel on the floor, and we thought it was gonna just annihilate us. So we were being like, I think we actually used like a witching just on that one squirrel because we seriously thought it was gonna like do something. It was just, I don't know. It looked very scary.
We pulled two squirrels when our tank didn't have steel up. And we didn't know to interrupt Scamper, and they just ripped our tank apart. I was like, oh my god, we were like one of those, the squirrels, we were absolutely afraid of the squirrels.
Wow.
Squirrels are... Don't mess with squirrels.
Don't AoE pull the squirrels unless you have a way of stopping Scamper.
Well, now I know. So if I see a squirrel, just have cooldowns ready. Okay, so... Again, I want to remind everybody in chat, if you guys have any questions or anything, please ask them. Karara is out there collecting those questions for you so we can ask them towards the end of the show. I do want to talk a little bit about how replayable this content is. After doing it and getting to 200, you guys really haven't done another 200 run, right?
No. I mean, we did the 96 and then the 200, and right now we're working on a duo 200 run, like me and Kai, but I haven't gone through and I haven't done any like 150, what I would consider the harder stuff with a pug or anything. But I'd be interested to see how that runs. I've watched a few streams of people pugging it, and I don't know if they just got lucky with the people they're doing it with, and they seem to know what they were doing, or maybe, I don't know.
Right.
It was actually a Japanese player stream, so maybe
they have better pugs.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I gotcha. But I mean, like, it seems, so there's nothing like at the end of it. It's like, oh man, I want to get into Palace of the Dead when I log on. I just want to go back and I want to go straight back into it. Like raiding, you can always go into it, be like, yeah, I'd have some fun raiding, right? You're like, hey, let's go do this boss real quick. And Arkk would be like, yeah, I'll log on. We'll go do this boss. It'll be fun. But like Palace of the Dead, I mean, you can kind of be like that, but it's not, you don't have that urge, right?
I mean, for the floor 200, the only really urge I would say that I have right now is getting the fire crest, because I only have the glass pumpkin. And then if I was to do another floor 200 run that I was actually doing with the pre-made group, I would want to go for leaderboards, but there's like a whole nother problem with how the leaderboards work right now.
So this is perfect. This is perfect because this kind of leads into what I want to talk about, is the leaderboards and how that works. I don't know how the ranking works. Do you guys have a good understanding of how the ranking works?
To an extent.
And
basically,
points and everything else?
Yeah. So I think how it currently works, your mob modifier or how much points you get is more potent than your floor modifier. So if you go look on like the solo ranking boards, there are people who are on floor 130 who are higher than the people who are on like 150. So the amount of mobs you kill is more potent than your actual floor modifier. So if you want to get like high on the ranking boards, like I don't think the groups like me or the like time is not an effective, or your like floor level, it's effective but not as potent as how many mobs you kill. So you actually want to be using, like if you're going for leaderboards, you'd want to use there's like the item that makes it, I don't know what the polymer's name is, but it makes it so more mobs are on the next floor. Like you would want to use those specifically and spend time in the earlier floors just killing everything. Like that would be your objective for leaderboards currently. So that's kind of like, to me, that seems like you're doing it for the wrong reasons. Like you're more doing it to just like do, that's a lot more of a time sink too. I would expect that to go in for like a 7-hour like climb, just because you're literally trying to clear everything. And if you run around on the lower floors, I'm not sure about the higher floors. It probably happens the same. Just because we tried to get off the higher floors as fast as possible, like other mobs will respawn. So you could have someone who just literally runs around and keeps respawning the mobs and killing them and get a higher score than someone who's like 20 floors above them on solo, which is like.
So you think the challenge isn't that interesting of a challenge, really?
The way the leaderboards work currently, it's like kind of praising people for the wrong reasons. It's not praising them for getting farther in the content. It's praising them for killing the most stuff in that content. If they flip-flopped the modifier so that was still accounted for, but your floor level or your floor, whatever rank of floor you're on, like if you're on floor 150, was still made that multiplier higher, it'd probably be a lot better of a representation, I think, personally. Like, I think you still have to be able to distinguish that, because otherwise, I mean, there's a lot of people who are gone floor 200 right now, right? So it wouldn't even be a leaderboard. But the fact that you can, like, be on a lesser floor than 200 and still make the leaderboards just because of your kills, like, that seems kind of silly to me. But,
one of the biggest things is, first off, you definitely have to start from floor 1 to
Speak
be
up,
high
Arkk.
on the leaderboard.
Arkk, speak up.
Like, can you hear me?
A little bit. It's like you're really low.
Oh.
Good now?
Yeah, good now. Okay.
Okay, sorry. That was weird. So I was gonna say that, yeah, starting from floor 1 is important, because that's, it counts your points from you collect points 1 to 50, right? So that's important. And the other thing that's missing from the leaderboard is the fact that it doesn't count time. Like the fact that you clear floors faster should be considered good. Also, like, it means, like, if you're good at skipping mobs, or if you need to kill a lot of mobs, those are both, like, and you're good at killing a lot of mobs or whatever, those are both you get through. But basically, the leaderboard it's very odd that it's not. Honestly, I thought it was just gonna be exclusively time. I didn't even think they were gonna.
That's what I thought too. Like,
who got to floor 200 fastest from like 1 to 50 or 1 to 200 or whatever. But the fact that the time is not a factor is weird, and maybe that's something they could fix, or at least they just should put time on there.
No, I kind of agree with that.
Organize.
Because I don't think it should just be time or just be how much you kill, but maybe a factor of both of them, because you don't know what kind of RNG drops you're going to get. And so you should be like, how do you take advantage of what you get? And you get high scores because you take advantage of that. Not just you have to hope for RNG and you get good ones. But
yeah. Either time should be a factor in some way.
Yeah. So that's kind of weird that they do that. So it kind of comes down to, I don't want to say the same thing with PvP leaderboards, because it's kind of weird how PvP leaderboards work, that you can still have some sort of abuse to it, but that's a whole nother thing. But I still think PvP leaderboards are better than this, right?
Well, this is just a copy of PvP leaderboards.
Leaderboards, yeah.
Poorly ported over.
Okay. It seems weird that they didn't even choose to do the time. Like, if you look at any competitive, like if you look at anyone who does rating, like now it's all about the speed kill, right? Like your overall group time, or like to me that just seems weird that wasn't even accounted for. So yeah, I don't know why they didn't choose that. Maybe it was too hard to do like a multiplier based on that, or maybe because they wanted it to be applicable to people who used different job comps. Like, that's the only thing I could think of why they didn't do a time, because I feel if they put in a time to make it, you would really need to have like they want to be like, oh, if you want to take all DPS, or you don't want to take a healer, or you don't want to take a tank.
I don't know. I feel like they just copied the thing from PvP.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I think they just copied the PvP leaderboard, and they might. I'm hoping they'll make improvements to the deep dungeon one.
Yeah, like currently, like, because me and my husband were talking about this, and he was saying like it's basically like this is the Final Fantasy Astrologian, like FF logs padding of Palace of the Dead is how many mobs you can kill instead. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. And I'd like to like, and similar to how PvP leaderboards work, I'd like if you want to incentivize people to care about it, because right now I only actually care about the clears and who cleared what, and that I can't, like, we have to filter by data center, you have to filter by job, and it's slow to load each one, so it doesn't even do what I want, and I want to see like who's gotten the furthest on solo stuff. Party stuff I don't care about. That was interesting when no one had gotten the clear yet, and I was watching that, and I got to see like who was on 200 or how many people cleared 200, and that was still hard again as well to filter by. But and then outside of that, if they could just make it a little bit easier for us to read, it'd be nice if if it was more organized by world rather than data center, and then we do something similar again to like I said, PvP, where like top 100, if they have a good way of actually valuing the score or something like that, top 100 get something unique per season, and then people go back and do it again. Like I don't see, if you have a leaderboard, you can do stuff like that. It doesn't have to be an amazing reward, but
right. So I mean, when we talk about replayability, we also talk about incentives to do it again. And so I haven't dove too much into it. So right now, is there any reason to be on the top of the leaderboard besides just putting your name up there?
I mean, I think it's just putting your name up there. Is I don't know of any other reason.
If people can find your name.
Oh, you're like, oh yeah, this name, I recognize this guy. Okay.
The solo stuff is very interesting, and there's definitely some individual glory in there for sure, because the people who are doing anything above 150 or even 140,
it's pretty
impressive. Pretty impressive, and that takes a lot of time and dedication. And I know some of those people got some disconnections and had to start from scratch on good runs. So, props to them. I'm gonna try it soon, but I'm not gonna try it that many times because I'm gonna disconnect. If I can get through one run without disconnecting, I might not do it again because I probably will. 2 disconnects is what I'll put up with probably, but that's still pretty painful.
Yeah.
Kind of like doing Diablo 3 and hardcore, where your characters delete it. So it kind of has that similar feel, right? You have a good, and like since Diablo 3 is all internet based, you get disconnected from the internet during Diablo 3. Your characters delete it if you're in like the wrong spot. So yeah, that is kind of a weird thing to put in there. And I wish that they would put some sort of like consideration into, like you were talking to me a little bit about it, Arkk. You're like, hey, if they could just give you a minute or two to come back and then declare, then it would be okay. But nope.
I don't know why they can't hold the dungeon for a little bit, like make it a little bit unique.
Yeah. Well, this goes kind of in a question Bibbs was asking in the chat. Do you get anything special from really doing floors 101 plus? And you guys were talking about a glass pumpkin. And
that's the reward for the end.
For the end. Yeah. What other rewards are we looking at for doing over 100? Anything?
You get more chances at what are they called? The shards. Like you can get is it grade 5s, right?
Yeah.
Because 150? That's 150 plus though, I think. Correct?
You get grade 5s from 50 to 100. Yeah. Well, you get pot shards, or is it like there's this thing that's like cursed something, right? And you
I don't know what it's called. You get the cursed horde because there's different tiers, right? So there's the bronze, the silver, the gold, and then is there platinum too?
No, gold is the highest.
Gold is the highest. So I think that's the 150 plus I was talking about. You get gold, which has the ability to give the mount, which is really cool. It's the Nightmare Pegasus.
Okay.
So there's a lot of like glamour, and I like as far as replayability goes in the higher turns, I think it's a really good way for new players to get basically try and make money. Like it's not obviously the most efficient way, but it is, I think, a good tool for new players coming in who may only be leveling a Discipline of War or Discipline of Magic job to come in and actually get glamour or get materia, which is needed right now, like if you're trying to get into in-game. And then also just a means to get gil to sell. I mean, obviously, I think the gil prices have dropped, or like the stuff that you get obtained from those, what are they called? Cursed hordes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Have like a lot of the glamour stuff has dropped, but I think it's at least an easy way for a new player coming in to obtain some sort of gil that they might need to.
Yeah, it drops stuff. It just I don't even know if you knew, Frosty, but it dropped like a Halligan replica gear.
Oh yeah.
All the replica gear from the old coils turns, and also all the primal crafted items, so like the Muggle weapons and songs too. Yep. So I got the Ramu gun or something like that. I sold some of it. Like some of it sold for like 5 million and stuff like that.
Yeah, like some of the stuff
I sold it fast enough. It dropped a lot now, but
yeah, but I still think it's a good way for players, because like Palace of the Dead, I feel is it you can enter at 17 or is it 30 that you can enter?
So I think it's like 17, like really low.
17.
Yeah.
Like. I mean, if you think of, like, if you consider someone who's starting completely fresh to this game and is trying to come into and, get into Final Fantasy 14, I think I mean, obviously it's not a lot of gil. It has dropped just because of how many people have done it, but I think that's a good way for someone to actually see a profitable gil source pre-getting level 60. And especially not even having a craft ring or gathering. So I think that is very helpful as far as like replayable content if you're a new player. And the fact that you get your abilities before even getting 60, it won't probably teach you, you know, like optimal raid, like raid rotations, but at least you can, before you get to the actual level, you can get used to and get familiar with all the abilities that you have on whatever class you're running as, which I think is really useful. Like our mechanist wasn't even 60, but he knew how, like, I mean, he knew how to play it, so he was able to go through with us just because we didn't the two other people we took were both tanks, and we didn't want to run with two tanks, so he was just like, I'll just go on machinist, like I know how to play it, or I have a good idea of how to play it. So I mean, that I think is a really cool aspect of it, that you don't, like, even if you're really low, you can kind of start getting used to those abilities that you have. And while it might not teach you a good, like, boss rotation, it will probably get you familiar enough that when you get to that point, you'll know how to use it in other content.
Yeah, and I kind of have a opinion about that too. It's basically, it's really cool that is a thing that can be done, but I honestly think it might be throwing stuff at new players too quickly too. And especially, especially like conjurers who are leveling up, and they're a conjurer until they're level 60, and then they don't get that the job upgrade. So it doesn't really mix well, and so when they're going through it, they're kind of not really understanding what they're doing. They're just clicking on buttons. That's what I think.
I definitely don't expect them to what is the word, like, know how to use it when they get it in Palace of the Dead, because like you're saying, it is very quickly, and when I've gone through on my conjure, I'm getting stuff really quickly. But I think it at least gives them, if they're a somewhat, you know, trying to learn the game, at least they can read the tooltip beforehand. But I don't know how many people actually do that.
Yeah, who's gonna do it? They're like, I gotta kill this stuff, people are moving, I have to get moving.
I would, but I don't know, maybe that's just, I'm used to, like,
and then by the time you're done reading it, they're just waiting for you to go to the floor to
they're waiting for you to get on the teleport. Like, come on, we have it open. We're unlocked. We can go up.
Yeah. I do think it's a very interesting concept that they allow for lower level players to do. And it's awesome for alts. I think that's where it really shines. Is that you kind of get to go through as an alt, and you kind of already have an understanding of how the game works. And so you can kind of read that stuff while you're leveling up a different character, and it will make more sense to you. This game is not super friendly to new players. I don't think it's very friendly to new players. It is interesting and it's exciting when you're going through it, but like there's just stuff that doesn't transfer well. Like if you play a lot of other MMOs and you come to this one, it doesn't transfer the way you thought it would. I mean, it's kind of like a WoW MMO, right? It makes sense. You can kind of correlate some of that stuff, but the way it works with the server, the way the long GCDs and not understanding of using OGCDs in between those as much, and it just...
I don't think that's ever taught anywhere, which is the weirdest thing, like, at all. It's not even said, like with other MMOs, you have where they try and tell you, like, you're trying to chain stuff, so they kind of teach you to use stuff in between, but I don't know like why that's not taught.
And it's a lot to throw at people, because there's so much in the game that they created from 1 to 60 as well, that doing all the story quests, and you're like, oh, there's side quests, I guess I should do these side quests. But no, at this point, you should not do any side quests at all until you hit like 50 at least. If you do, you're just killing yourself with how much you're never going to go into a dungeon until you have to do a dungeon. Think but
you did originally, and maybe that's a case of like whatever guides people are reading, because I know they changed the main scenario to give you more points, but I know before you used to have to do those side quests, like beginning 2.0. So I don't know.
I think someone should just make a simple new player guide and what you should do while you're going through. If you want to experience the MMO properly, like you need a guide to go through it and not get really frustrated and upset. And people don't understand the whole like, oh, leveling up another job for 15 levels so you can get your or class so you can get your actual job when you hit 30. And I think that
seems to be unique to this Final Fantasy series. Like 11 does that too, and well, not, it's just as you're in the case of your sub job, so that seems to be exclusive in this franchise.
He wants to get rid of the class system, but expect it to like 5.0 or more.
It's not going to happen for a while, and they're going to have to figure out a way to make this game more friendly to people who are starting right off, and that's why they're talking about jump potions and stuff, right? But that's a whole nother conversation. We won't get too much into that. So, just out of curiosity, did you guys, when you started Palace of the Dead, did you all both start at level 1, or did either one of you guys start at 51?
51 for me.
Okay.
I started at 1.
Okay, so you both have had each side of that. That was just because a question came in through chat that said, "Is it true if you start at 1, you get a glass pumpkin? If you start at 51, you get a fire crest?" So that's not true.
Right. Maybe because you said you started at 1, Arkk.
Yeah.
You both got glass pumpkins. Yeah.
And we both got glass pumpkins. I think it's just random. If there's something that dictates it, I'm not sure what it is.
I don't know if this is confirmed. I read this a while ago when it was still kind of new, but someone said you could get both. I don't know if that's confirmed anywhere. I heard that.
How do you get both?
I don't know. I apparently both can be there. But that might just be a rumor. I'm not very confident about that statement.
It's always exciting.
Someone said that on Reddit, but yeah.
When content has rumors to it, and you're like, oh, can you do this? Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean the other thing, because at first I thought, because the game that this is based off of, Palace of the Dead, the glass pumpkin was used to trade. It was like a really rare item used to trade to get an armor that only females could use. So I was like, is it only because like females were in our party? But then we had one male character, so I was like, damn it, like
trying to figure out the science to it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
It's just random.
And I remember when like Pokemon Go came out and everyone was doing that, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you got to do this to get this Pokemon, or you got to like throw your Pokeball this way, or you get it back like this." And that's nice to know that there's still these things with Palace of the Dead, even though it's been out for how long now? Like this tier of content for it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's random. I think it'd be cool though if there was something like that. Kind of brings us back to the 1.0 era. If I don't know if any of you guys played then with AV and CC speedruns, like to get the 5 chest, you had to do things in the dungeon to unlock the 5 chest, basically. Which I think would be cool if there was something like that for either getting the glass pumpkin or getting a different type of reward, like depending on what you did in the earlier floors. That would be really cool. So maybe there is. I don't know. I don't know what the dictation is for getting the fire crest or the glass pumpkin.
Data mining would debunk that kind of stuff, but
yeah, probably.
All right, so I wanted to actually talk a little bit about the solo content too, because this is when it gets really interesting. And Arkk, you have experience with this because you did 1 through 50 solo as a paladin.
Pre-nerf.
Yeah, pre-nerf.
Yeah.
Nariko, did you do any solo content with the Palace of the Dead at all?
No, I don't think I did. I've watched people do it. I mean, I've watched Dragoon POVs. My husband does that solo content, but I haven't seen. And I've watched a few streams of people doing it, but I have not myself done it. It'd be interesting to do that.
Yeah, and I think that's really good for people who just want to play around and have a challenge to just themselves and not depend on someone else that's doing it. Which kind of sucks when you get into MMO content's great because you play with your friends, but then you have to start depending on your friends to play what you want to do. And it gets frustrating, but this gives you the option of just saying, screw it, I'm going to do my own little personal challenge and try to solo it. And, props out to Xeno, who went and soloed Titan. I think he's one of the first people who soloed Titan back in the day when it was...
back in the day.
Well, back in the day as in, when Heaven's Ward came out and we're at that point to where these things start to become possible, and he went out and did that. And, I mean, you want to find these little challenges for yourself, because sometimes in Final Fantasy you have to find your own little challenge
to stay interested.
Yeah. And so do you guys feel like this content will be soloed? Someone will hit level 200 and solo it?
I'm going to say maybe. And if it is, it's probably going to be a tank or a healer. And if a summoner does it, I'd be really impressed. But I don't know if a DPS can, just because of its current, how hard that boss hits.
Okay.
I'm going to say no. I don't think it's currently soloable. I hope I eat those words. But I've noticed something in the last 5 floors, they actually expect you to kill a lot of mobs to unlock the exit, even when a fight is up. And those mobs have a lot of health and a lot of one-shot mechanics. And I don't even think you have enough space to kill them in time for more roamers to show up. So I don't. I guess
you have to get lucky.
Yeah, you have to have the right defenders. But
yep, I feel like you have to use your rage. You have to basically have 3 rage, which is really hard to do after killing, because you have to kill the behemoth, right? And I feel that the healers can get to there, but they're going to run into the enrage. And if they get more than 4 of the epical meteor, I think they probably will die.
I think people might figure out a way to get past behemoth at some point.
Yeah.
But I think resources will be very slim at that point. And also, again, opening chests later on is very risky too. So you get that Pominder's route. I'm very doubtful of it. But I definitely, if I would say it would have to be like a healer.
Yeah.
that would do it. But I think they just run out of time, honestly. Like
that's what I'm worried about. Like going through duo, I think that being like the floors, the thing we're not concerned about the bosses as like a duo run. We're concerned about the floors, like in the later stuff. That's what.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, even duo time will be tight.
Yeah.
So it's just the time restraint.
And it sucks running out of time when you're on level 199, right? And you're just like,
if they had like now, if you asked me that same question and they had 2 hours to clear every floor, then I'd say maybe. I say maybe still, but I'd still maybe. People are very resourceful, and some people have a lot of time to do that stuff. So it would be significant. Like that person would be my hero. Like there's no question about that. The fact that they'd be very resourceful and amazing and.
Okay, so right now we're saying the biggest challenge in the game is solo Palace of the Dead, right?
Yeah.
Under the current restraints we're given, probably yes, just because of I agree with what Arkk was saying. Because my biggest concern for like a solo player is actually the floors, and the time is where that runs into. And so the fact that you have, how much time do you start out with? 70? Is it 70 minutes per each 10 floors?
You only get 1 hour for each floor.
Is it 60?
Okay, so 60 minutes? Yeah. I thought it was 70. Why did I think it was 70?
I don't, yeah. And I mean, I could be wrong, but I never noticed it being 70 before unless they increased it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's probably 60. But
it was definitely 60 when I was doing the pre-nerf solos. I was watching that clock. I killed like the 40th floor boss with like 1 minute to spare.
I think 177 is the highest right now, right? On Gaia, and it's, I think, Maru Tio?
Yeah.
Tio?
Okay. So, so are we all assuming Scholar is going to be the first one? If it does happen, it has to kind of be a Scholar? Like, there's no other job that can maybe pull that off?
Scholar or maybe Warrior. The only reason I don't know, because I think Warrior's on 150 still, or 160.
Well, yeah, 150 was at least what I've seen cleared by it. So
they've wiped on 150, yeah.
No, I've seen a clear. Like, I've heard there was a clear for 150 as a Warrior.
Oh, okay.
It was on Reddit or something this morning.
I think there is, yeah. So I don't know
if
they
don't have it on the scoreboard yet, then.
Okay, yeah, I'm not sure. Like, I'm not sure if that's just because people haven't tried it though. Like, I don't know, because this is a pretty intense time sink to do this. So I don't know if this is the case if people are just like, the rewards are too little to actually obtain anything, so why would I try?
So you say that, but you run out of challenges, right? And then you're like, there's this golden challenge. If you do this, holy shit, you just did this. And so
Yoshi would probably mention you.
Yoshi might mention you at FanFest, right?
Yoshi specifically said he doesn't think anyone could solo it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before the content even came out, he doesn't think anyone can solo it. So he would probably say your name or something.
Yeah, in a live letter.
Make reference to you, yeah.
So there you go, guys. Go for it. Good luck. And if you guys can solo it, I will applaud you. You won't see me doing it, but I will do it. Or I'll make a video if you want me to. I'll make a video of me applauding too, and I'll post it for you. But no, it would be interesting because there aren't a lot of things like this in the game that are public challenges like this. I don't think, at least. And so we're watching.
I think the fact that you have to go through it and there's no save point really probably is deterring a lot more people from attempting. Like, at least as a solo form, right? Because that's what is that? That's like almost four hours ramp up time, probably as solo, if not more, to even get to the parts where I would deem is like currently where people are. I mean, the highest floor is 177. So to get to 177, I mean, you're already going to be, that's at least 5 hours, if not more, of a time sink. And then if you wipe on something, like that's just like, down the drain. So
maybe a fair checkpoint for soloing would be 150. But even then, it's still like, because for example, when through my solo attempts, 41 to 50, which is usually the easier one because you don't have to worry about experience points anymore, so time's not a factor anymore. I actually opened like 7 mimics on my way to the final floor and had to do the final. I had to do the final boss with Pox, and I ran out. I didn't run out of time. She killed me with like just a little bit of health left. But of course, I just start from floor 40 again, and then I just like on my second run, I just every single chest had a rage in it instead of a mimic. So
yeah.
And I just ripped apart that on that
yeah, I was looking at your time for that one, and that one you had time left.
On the final set of floors, there's a piece of cake for time. Like it's leveling, right? I have to like pre-nerf. Now this doesn't matter anymore, but pre-nerf 1 to 50, you have to like farm experience points and max. And that's why disconnecting was like the worst, because I disconnected on floors 30 to 40 after farming for about 45 minutes, just farming experience points. And I disconnected and had to do that again. And I was like, that's not fun. So I'm really happy that I don't have to farm experience points. I think that's
nice that we all start at 60.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so you said you're going to try to duo it, Nariko, right?
Yeah, I think we're only on 90 right now. We only spent about 35 minutes in there so far. So we're going to try and do it, though. So hopefully we'll get some more chance to do that.
And this is a question from Chi in chat. What's your comp? What are you using?
Scholar Dragoon.
So no tank. Do you guys think that's...
No tank.
Do you think that you should have a tank to get far with it? Or?
No, just because from seeing the solo point of views, at least from a DPS, they have the damage to do it. I mean, Warrior, I believe, could probably do it as well. There's no point. The Dragoon I have is very familiar with Dragoon, and we want to do it. Most of the content that we used to duo, like we would go through dungeons and duo them before, just to like you're saying, that content when we've run out of raid content. So we're going to do it as Dragoon. I mean, if we run into major problems, the first thing we're going to change is probably him switching to War. I think we could do it on Dragoon. I'm trying to think if War and Dragoon have the same amount of CCs, like as far as stun, or which is better. I don't know. But I'm more worried about the floors. I'm not worried about the bosses at all. Yeah. I'm worried about the floors.
You guys are going to have a really fun time if you run out of steals towards the end.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'm worried more, like, I'm trying to think. The hardest boss, honestly, I think would just be the behemoth, because I'd be worried that we'd get through like 3 epical meteors, and that's rough to do because you have to really save your cooldowns for that, like your Aether flow. That's where I would be like concerned. But I think Dragoon Warrior is definitely, Dragoon Scholar is possible. But if we run into like major issues, we're gonna switch probably Scholar Warrior.
It's easy to get Warrior and Scholar confused. They're both overpowered for what they are. So it's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, your duo run will give a really good indication on the later floors of how hard it actually is to solo them.
That's what we're hoping to do. Because when he got to floor 120, I think on Dragoon, was it 120 or 110? 120. You couldn't do the 120 boss. Which is the 130. 130. What's the 130 boss is the
Hydra.
The Hydra, yeah. It does too much damage. That's what he's always running into. He can get it down to like 10%. So he's like, this is annoying. So damage I'm not worried about, but it's just like with a Scholar, you're not going to worry about heals. So yeah.
Yeah. Arkk, are you going to duo it here with Izu?
It depends what Izu's interested in, because we did the duo last time, but it was a little bit easier back that time to duo, because again, you could solo 1 to 50. So maybe there's a lot of time to attempt it. I'd like to do one more 200 clear first at some point, and then solo attempts, and then maybe duo if she's up for it. But I already said Final Fantasy 15 is coming out soon, so I'm not really I'm not really pressed for time, so I might have to drop off some of these like challenges. It's just like I'll be like, oh, there'll be other Final Fantasy 14 stuff to do in the expansion like that. Yeah. But right now, Final Fantasy 15 is coming up. So.
To go on that little quick tangent about Final Fantasy 15, Nariko, are you getting 15?
We are, but I don't know if we're actually going to be out of town when it launches. So we're going to be on a plane. So we'll get it. I don't know if we'll be able to pick it up until like the second day after, just because we're in like transit. But yeah. I actually it's probably I'll get a lot of hate for this. I am like an exclusively Final Fantasy MMO player. Like I don't really play the other Final Fantasies. I'm not.
That's like, not foreign. I've had lots of people come on and say the exact same thing, but.
I mean, I've mostly my experience for Final Fantasy genre is 11 and 14, and those are my favorite games for sure. I'm just very interested in 15. It has a little bit more of an MMO theme to it, so I might actually like it.
I mean, we got to do the Titan challenge at E3, or they had the Titan battle there, and it seemed okay, but I mean, I'm definitely probably, I don't know if I always end up, anytime we get Final Fantasy games, Kai ends up playing it, and I never get to play it. I just have to end up watching it. So
This is a thing.
We're trying to figure that out too right now. Actually.
exactly. Yeah, we only have one play. We only have one. Wait, what are we getting it for? Is it PS4? Okay, we only have one PS4, so.
So I guess the question, the only thing that you could really do in that situation is one person plays it, the other person just don't play it in a computer room, and don't be near each other when you're actually playing.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of. But our computer and our TV are the same areas, so
Yeah.
we'll have to figure that one out. Maybe I'll move the computers to the bedroom or something.
Yeah. I used to actually. I know he's right next to you. You guys have this desk that you guys kind of just right there.
Yeah.
Kerr and I used to be like that too, and then it just became rough sometimes. Like when we were talking, and then it would just go over mics and everything.
It'd echo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it just get kind of bad. So I had to kind of move upstairs.
I've had people mute one of us, and then they only hear the sound coming from one mic. So yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't quite work when you put it between each other either, because we've tried that and you just don't hear either person that well. So
yeah.
All right. Well, okay. Back to Palace of the Dead. Do you guys think after a while you're not gonna have interest to go back and do it as a group anymore? You're only going to do it as a challenge with two people or one person trying to solo it. Is it just going to fall off after a certain point where I got both the crest and the pumpkin? What's the point in going in for group again?
I mean, the only point I would see is for replayability is if you want your name on the leaderboards, if you already have everything, right? I already have the mount, I have the minion, I have the songs. I think I have everything exclusive from Palace of the Dead, except for the Fire Crest. So obviously when I would get that, if I haven't done the duo part yet, I mean, maybe you could go back and solo it if Scholar is really the only class that's probably going to do it. I mean, that's prime for me. I play main Scholar. I've been playing it forever. Mm-hmm. So that'd be interesting to go back and maybe do, but I'd be interested to going with a group of 3 others who really want to make sure to get on the leaderboards, and I think it kind of involves luck based on the mob, the pollinators you get to pop more of them. Mm-hmm. So I think you could get high up there. I want to go back and try and get go for a hardcore leaderboard and just clear everyone out.
So okay. It's very interesting because I thought about it too. And it's the same problem as what I was complaining about in the leveling from, getting that experience and spending time just grinding experience. It's basically the same thing as grind mobs. And then you wipe on floor 190 after grinding mobs on every single floor up to that point.
and then it's just, you just...
It's now you might be very high up, but if another group passed you...
Yeah.
It's like doing a hardcore relic. You're just doing lots of grinding and going through all that stuff, and you're all right, we got it, and then you just lose, and you're just all right, I'm not doing this again.
I mean, your score would probably still be very decent, but it could have been a lot higher, so are you going to do it again to get the higher one? Or
yeah, I don't know.
And it's not necessarily the funnest content, to grind. It's fun to go through it and cheat, complete it. That's really fun, but the grinding part of it, yeah. Not for me, anyways. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, by the way, chat, if you guys have any more questions, go ahead and ask them now. We're going to go through a few more topics here. So, if you're going to ask a question, you should do it now or never. That's the other choice you got. The other part that I really want to talk about here is we've already talked about time being a factor on the ranking, kind of how there's no boss on level 200. What's your gripes? What's the things that you're just I hate this about this content, and they have to change it?
I mean, those were my 2 big gripes, in my opinion, was the ranking system not having I just think they need to change the multiplier. I think the time should be considered, but even if they didn't add time, if for whatever reason they didn't want to add time, at least make it so that your floor is a higher multiplier than the mobs killed. I think that would do a lot of help. Because, I mean, if you get to floor, if you had someone this, I could see this. If someone does get to floor 200 on the leaderboards, miraculously, I don't think they're actually going to be ranked number 1 because of just someone going through and killing a whole bunch of stuff in the beginning. That seems silly to me, just because they're going to be efficiently using their polymanders in, I don't know, it's just going to be a really interesting use of polymanders, and it's not going to, I don't think if someone did get 200, they'd be on number 1 spot. So that's concerning because that seems that's such much more of an accomplishment than anything else. And then obviously the boss, the Finch Chan being the full boss, that's a little I would have liked to see a boss. I mean, I would have liked to see a boss. Even if it was really hard and you had to do it all over again, I personally would have liked to see that boss. So
fair enough.
Those are my gripes personally. I don't think I have that many gripes about the system in general. I mean, I thought it was enjoyable the first playthrough. The floor 196 swipe was definitely heartbreaking, but I mean, I still wanted to go back and do it after I took like a good 8 hour sitting of just trying to process
Crying
what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotcha. Arkk, did you have any really big gripes outside of those?
No, mostly just the leaderboard and the whole disconnect thing. I wish there'd be a better system for disconnecting.
Yeah.
I didn't mind the last bosses too much. I wish it was they played on the whole like now you're waiting for like you're the strongest boss, you're waiting for like the next people to defeat. I wish they played on that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Maybe like made a lot of the bosses in like the last 50 floors more humanoid. Like so it's like, oh look, here are people.
And you're beating up people in groups of people who are coming through, yeah.
Or even take it one step further where like, you know, they do the Odin thing where like the last person who cleared it now has the image of the
that'd be cool.
You know, stuff like that.
That would be cool. I would be down for that.
So I wish they took that a little bit further. I didn't really catch on to that right away, but I didn't
mind. What if
they
just turned it into a PvP match?
And
you just had to fight the other people.
I think a lot of people are gonna die.
That would be really interesting though. No, you become the bad guy, and then you have two bad guys that have to fight each other, and whoever wins beats floor 200, and whoever doesn't goes back to 50.
Oh my gosh.
Don't tease. And going back to rewards a little bit too, like I think that there is some good rewards in there, especially for like housing items and glamour. I still think that like I said this to you before, Frosty, with the difficulty of raiding right now, I still wish that there was more alternatives to getting top eye level gear, even if it's slower, even if it's got a weekly lockout, even if it's more RNG based. I think this content, like killing the mobs or the cursed hordes, or even just clearing the content, had a chance for
1% chance of like 270.
Not even like 1% chance or 2% chance per floor, like to drop like the upgrade items or something, that a token that allows you to pick some items. You know, similar to how the diadem loot worked a little bit. I'm very interested to see what they do with diadem, if they're going to do something similar again where you can roll for good loot. But like, you know, when raid content's really hard, it makes sense that it gives the best loot in the game and everyone strives for it. But when they have all this other good content, I think they should incentivize raiders and people interested in like battle content, PV battle content, to do it by rewarding them with loot. Like
maybe even 265 gear, just like not quite raid, but like you know,
comparable.
Yeah,
it's like, again, it's not like a lot of, you know, like incentivize raiders to do it, because if it, you know, it's again raiding has been taken down a notch. There's no doubting that, which is fine, and I agree with that. But I want to see more content now. Like it's like that rewards loot similar to it. Like give me good alternatives, something to farm after I've, you know, finished my kill for the week and stuff like that.
And I know Yoshi P follows the show and watches it every single week, and like he's keeping up with everything we're saying, and he takes all of our comments into consideration, because, you know, we're at that status, right? So the thing is, Yoshi P, going off that note, why are there not hardcore achievements in the game to where you have to do content with handicaps? Why? That's it. That's all you got to do. You're done. Don't have to add extra content. Just say, hey, no one dies, you get a special achievement. That's okay, right? That's not that hard of an achievement, but I mean, it's something.
Can't mention.
I mean, we kind of already have that, because if you get a KO, you can't advance. So I mean, that system's somewhat already in, right? Because you can't advance to the higher floors unless if you have a KO. So I mean, that something is obviously tracking that, right?
But
I know it's tracking it. So I'm just saying it's.
Oh yeah, it could be implemented. Yeah,
because it's tracking it. I mean, they have a system now that tracks that.
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, they could put that in. And then also, hey, due to content without a healer in your group. Hey, due to content without a tank in your group. Just these random little achievements they could just throw into the game.
They used to do that in 1.0. If you guys ever did, oh God, what is that called? What was the thing that you had to do for your relics? Hist? What was it? What was it called? No, not Scrimmage. Hamlet. I don't know if you guys ever did Hamlet, but there was achievements for doing it with like all crafters, all discipline of war, or like all gatherers, and so there were achievements that used to exist like that. Or like Hamlet, normally you would bring in a healthy mix of everything. But
and intentionally getting hit by mechanics. Okay, so
Yeah.
there are just things that you can do to make this game more interesting for in-game raiders without creating new content. Just providing the challenge, and maybe all you would have to do is create a special glamour. Maybe not titles. Titles aren't that great, but a special little glamour, just something on the side, you know. And in the end, you do 25 achievements that are hardcore raid achievements. You get this special amount. While it was very successful with that, there's no reason why you can't take it. There's just no reason why not. I don't care if you guys say, "Oh, it's a copycat thing." Who cares? It was a really good piece of content.
If it works, then why not put it in? Or if it made people excited to do something, then do it.
And at FanFest, when they were asking people questions, and people were asking glamour questions, and I was like, just pick me. This is the one question I've had for half a year. Or, you know, you could just maybe just answer.
Oh,
this
it's
one
been
question.
longer than half a year.
Okay.
They had people planted in the audience. There you go, Frosty.
Yeah, Planet to ask about beards and hairstyles and whatever. I don't. We're done. We're done. We're good. This is a safe place. This is chill. This is Frosty. So, going back, thank you for the smiles. I appreciate it. Is there anything that you can tell players who are getting into Palace of the Dead right now, things that you could tell them since they have not entered into 51 to 200, that would be good advice going into the content?
Are these like totally new players or players who did 1 through 50?
Just people who have maybe done 1 through 50, people who are kind of familiar with the content, but they have not touched any of the new updated content.
Okay, so I'm sure Arkk has a whole bunch more doing it solo, but I would say no, at least up until 100, I think you could be pretty new still, like 51 to 100, and you don't have to necessarily know stuff, but if you're challenging past the 100, maybe know your class to some extent, and then if don't open chests randomly, because later on that could really hurt you. Like, make sure you guys have planned it. If you're like a healer specifically, I always had this problem. Don't run with your tank, like run back, because I remember doing it originally and we had a wipe because of that, because I was running with the tank and then the thing blew up and we had a whole bunch of mobs on us and we all died. And like, what else would be? Know like the polymer use, because if your party got in a tight spot and maybe you're the only one up right now, like know which polymenders you need to pop in what situations, or know what you have. Like always I think it's C to have that up, like always have that up and know what you have. And that way, if you find a chest that you guys have like 3 polymenders of strength and there's a strength, then you could always pop it again, or you could pop like a steel and then have someone in your party pop a steel and then get the steel again. So that would be my like advice from someone who's wanting to get into the harder floors and maybe not familiar with like what tactics are used in Palace of the Dead. Okay. At least from going in the higher floors.
Arkk, what do you want to throw out there?
Know how Chimera works.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
Don't go in there and not know how Chimera works. You need to know everything one shots.
I would say, I mean, yeah, I'm sorry, I kind of left this out too. Because we were going through it, like, I think we were the farthest up to 196, so everything was new. If there was a mob that we were engaging that we did not know what it did, we would have all of our cooldowns up and just stun stuff that we didn't know. So like, I would say that if you want to go in with the blind experience, if
you're ready
you
to
don't
stun everything.
Be ready to use your CCs on cooldown like that. We didn't pull excessively.
Hallie actually does pretty well when you go in blind or for your first time. Like that on-demand stun is really strong, actually.
Yeah, we didn't have that. We had the warrior, but it was still it's good.
I know it's easy to forget that jobs have utility to them, guys, but remember that they have utility to them. It's not all about the parses here in Palace of the Dead.
It's great that's one of the things I really like. It's probably the content that makes use of job utility the most out of any other content in the game currently. So yeah, it's really fun. It's fun. You get to see the strengths of your jobs.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm hoping, that someday I can have a discussion with someone who still thinks about these things, about utilities, and maybe I just need to find people who have cleared Palace of the Dead at 4.
I think well,
do like a PvP utility is pretty. Yeah, PvP.
Yeah, sorry, I meant PvE content when I was referring to earlier. PvP is like all utility, yeah.
Yeah.
So PvP, or just wait until they add some PvE content that's makes use of utility. I don't know. We gotta see. Like they're saying they're gonna do a bunch of job changes and like make all the core abilities like the same for per role and like make all the classes more defined in what they're good at. So they like make Pallies more defensive and good at supporting people. And stuff like that.
But they'll still go down the toilet because they don't do enough DPS, right?
I mean, if they're
if
they're super tanky, like if they're so much more tankier, then there'll be things they might.
Well, I mean, it depends on the boss though, because if there's nothing that you need if there's nothing you need the tankiness for, then they're still like.
True enough.
Yeah, exactly.
But, and also, what does this like? Does it mean like you bring a Pally, you might be able to solely heal stuff? Is kind of what I was like thinking. Like very easy and truly solely heal stuff where the solo healer is still able to do a lot of DPS. Not where the solo healer is only healing.
Oh no! Right now, like if you're a healer, the only reason you're out of cleric stance is for a pre-planned heal that you knew about already, right? No one can make mistakes anymore, right? So
well, if you're going for like speak stuff, then yeah. If you're playing pretty safe, then.
I am being a little bit salty right now because I am a very heavy focused on doing enough DPS to clear the content and doing the mechanics correctly. But most people will completely fight me on that and say you do more DPS so you skip mechanics and you don't have to do them.
Well, I mean, your first time through, I mean, my personal opinion, you should play defensively your first time through, but...
Yeah, always, yeah.
And try to make the best out of your job. I mean, if you have a monk, then you should be finding key spots to use mantra, right? I mean, you shouldn't just ignore that ability exists.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to think if there's really anything like in this content that the mantra is really needed. I know in the last
required, but you
I know in 8 though it was really good at during the like run around. I don't know what it's called during the praise and the run around. We'd always want mantra there, but yeah.
He's running Pally Warrior, so they get Dragon Kick. So Monk's very valuable in their group.
No, see, the thing is, I don't have a ninja. So I'm not a good paladin because I don't do good DPS.
You need that
I don't have trick attack, and I don't have whatever it's called, the shade. So,
Shade Walker.
So I don't get free enmity. So I have to like be in shield off at some points in the fight, all right? All my salt's coming out. I'm sorry. We're gonna stop the salt. We're Palace of the Dead. Good stuff. Thank you guys for talking about that with me. I think that we went over some good information here, and I mean there's a lot to talk about. We could have gone into all the different details about all the different monsters and everything else, but
yeah,
I didn't want to go too deep into it. I feel like
gotta leave the suspense for people who want to challenge it.
Exactly.
If they had questions, they could have asked it.
Oh yeah, if you have any questions for that, then yeah.
If you guys do have questions, but you almost lost your. If you guys want to throw some last minute questions, you can. But I'm going to do some exit stuff here, and we'll go towards the end of the show. First off, I do want to say thank you both for coming on this show. I really appreciate you coming on. It means a lot to me. First, ShamanArkk, of course. You've been on the show plenty of times here. I'm going to ask you to do the shout-outs. I already know what you're going to say, but go ahead and do your shout-outs here to who you'd like to do shout-outs to.
Shout-outs to my raid group. Shout-outs to the Free Company Lucidity on Gilgamesh for supporting me and being so awesome. Shout-outs to Frosty for awesome MogTalk and inviting me on the show and giving me lots of fun.
Man, you're always a pleasure to come on the show. You've been on the show, I think, what was
it? Count.
It's like in the 20s? Is episode somewhere in the 20s that you came on?
Was it 20? I thought you were saying it was 10.
Oh, 10s maybe. I don't know.
How many have been on in total, or the first show?
No. I mean, like, when you first start to come on the show, it was like in our episode 15, 11, something like that. I don't know. Somewhere early on. And I can't believe, like, I keep thinking about it right now. We've had 85 of these shows, and each show can be anywhere from, like, 2 to 5 hours. How much content have I pumped out at this point?
Thinking about triple digits, too.
Yeah.
Do something, Oh, yeah. I don't know if you're doing something special for show 100, right?
I mean, we're about 3 months off, so we'll see. Maybe. I mean, episode 50 was phenomenal. It was great to do. It was exhausting, though, doing a 12-hour show, but, we'll see. We'll see how it works out. Maybe I'll do a 24-hour show. So, again, Nariko Star, this is your first time coming on a show.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you coming on. Would you like to do any shout-outs to anyone?
I would. Well, okay. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on MogTalk. So shout out there. I think Arkk got you first, but I'm not second snipe.
Okay, very good.
And then obviously the FC that I raid with, Legacy, we're on Sargatanis. I've been with them since literally pretty much the beginning of 2.0. So shout out to that we've been around for so long. My raid static, PST, so they're really cool. I've been doing content with them since I joined Legacy. And then also I have to shout out to the 3 people who did the climb with me, because that 196 wipe was so bad. That was Sindolf on Warrior, Zaki, now Pillow Taster, who was on
chat.
Dragoon.
In chat.
I know Sindolf was there. I'm not sure if Zaki's there. But yeah, and then Zaki Pillow Taster, he was on Dragoon, and then of course I have to do this. Miss Kayako Star, the Dragoon Beauty of Sargatanis. He was actually mechanist for us, but
nice.
He did the climb
good.
as well.
Yeah. So that's his character, I'm assuming, is
Miss Kayako Star, the Dragoon Beauty of Sargatanis. It has to be that whole title, everything.
Okay. Very good. Arkk. I'll just say Kai.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. I really appreciate you guys again both coming on the show. You've been fantastic on here. And I look forward to the future shows. We'll have you guys come on, of course, if I haven't completely, made you run away, Nariko.
There's a lot of salt, Frosty. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a little bit. I'm trying. I'm holding back.
You're not going to be frosty anymore if you put all that salt. It's going to melt it.
It's going to melt it all away, and I'm going to be watery, and I'm going to be, what do we call it? I can't think of a good term for it. Just oceany.
Salty water TV.
Yeah, salty water. Yeah, salty water TV. That would be good, actually.
Oh, here you go. Here, Frosty. Are you Frosty?
Oh, come on. No. I think I have one here too, but I'm not gonna. I don't know where the little snowman's at. Anyways, thank you guys for watching the show. It's been awesome having you come and support us. Thank you for Zeno and everyone else who was hosting us throughout the show. Also, thank you, Kurara, for going through, collecting all the questions, moderating, making sure that people stayed in line during the show. I don't think we had any bans or anything, but it's not too late. We can still ban somebody. Thank you, Andre Kane, who did the cover of that Final Fantasy VII battle music that's at the very beginning of the show. And thank you, Blizzana, for the layout that we have here on the show that we are using. And before we go, next week's MogTalk is kind of in the air, but kind of not. I'm almost diehard dedicated to start the job shows back up again. We're going to see how it works. I was thinking that we'd start with doing every single job individually per show, so we can properly highlight these shows. One of the biggest issues that we had with the tank shows that it usually ended up being like, oh yeah, paladins suck, warriors are great, or we did the healer shows. Yeah, scholar's great. Astro has been kind of a scrub. That was when we did the healer show at that point. Astro wasn't so great, but now I'm thinking that if we do start it, we're going to start it right, and we're going to start with a paladin show next week, where we will discuss why paladins are great, right? And so we're going to see how it works out. Probably if someone was going to say the most worthless job, I guess, quote unquote, they would usually go to paladin, right? It's not worthless completely. It works in the content, but if someone was going to be in the lowest tier of the classes and jobs, most people refer to paladin.
Are you
right?
planning on doing it only for PvE content? Because paladin is pretty shine in PvP right now.
It's all going to be PvE. PvP is a whole nother world that I used to do a lot of shows on PvP. And then there was not a single one that didn't include so much anger and hatred towards people cheating and abusing, and it's just like that was it always came. It was the chat. It was just pure salt on whoever was higher on the board.
Oh,
player versus player.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, people are really angry. And no one ever in PvP right now. No one, in everyone else's eyes, most people don't earn PvP top tier stuff. They cheat their way there. That's what people say and they think, and they're in this whole toxic mindset, and so it's really hard to do that.
Yeah.
But we'll see. So that's the aim next week, guys. I appreciate you all coming on the show, watching the show, and let's do our awkward waves here. And while we're doing our awkward waves, I'll do my outro little thing here. Guys, remember to be good, keep cool, and stay frosty.